everybody.
All kinds of friendly faces. How is
Yes.
everyone?
Yes. Great to see everyone. All right, and thanks for being here, a few days before the holidays, and we appreciate you and thank you for participating in the MAPS holiday group calls. Obviously, my name is Rector, and this is Jessica Fox, and we're here to walk you through the needs analysis and the recruiting presentation. We're going to go through the key components of that. We're going to do a role play, and hopefully you will get some value out of today's call. So thank you for being here. We're just going to jump right into it for the sake of time and to value your time and keep you on track. So first of all, most of you know who we are. We've been in the recruiting space for quite some time. Jessica has been a team leader for 17 years. I've been a MAPS coach and also a recruiting coach for well over 20 years. Together, collectively, we recruited over 5,000 real estate agents in our career. So recruiting's kind of our thing, and we're grateful that we get to bring you the topic today of the recruiting needs analysis and the 10-step recruiting presentation. So let's start with the analogy for the experienced agent. We call it the baseball analogy. It's really experienced agent recruiting model. So this is the model.
Well, and I just want to
Yes.
say, that Rich, you helped me in such a way as my MAPS coach when I was a team leader, understand that this was not a listing presentation. This was not a sales pitch. And, to be honest with you, for years, that's how I recruited. And I think a lot of people do. So before we dive into this, for those of you that go into a coffee and you come in ready to go and hoping to grab them and convince them to join Keller Williams and share all the cool things that we have. That is what I did for years until I met Rich Rector, and he taught me how to actually recruit properly for an R2, an experienced agent. It's not a sales pitch. It's not a listing presentation. So if you've been doing that, just be aware that this model is one that will check you as you're going through this process so that you don't become a sales pitch. And truth is, this could be a 1 conversation or a 6 conversation process. And yet, if you learn this process and you don't skip bases, you'll have a huge conversion improvement. So I hope you all are open to learn this model.
Excellent. All right. So the model really starts with getting an appointment, right? Nothing happens if we don't get an appointment. So, at home base, we have to get a base hit. In our baseball analogy here, it's really about getting base runners on base to win the game. It's not about hitting home runs now and then, because we all know with experienced agents, it's very rarely do you sit with somebody for the very first time and they say, here's my license, where do I sit after your meeting, right? It's a process. So,
Right.
so in this analogy, this model, we have to get on base, meaning that we have to master setting the appointment. That's a different call, but we all, need to master that piece of how do you create enough curiosity when an experienced agent's happy where they're at, they don't want to move, they fear change. How do you create enough curiosity that they want to meet with you, that they will meet with you? So how do you get to first base? Once you've done that, what we're going to talk about today is the needs analysis. Now, what do you do now that they're in front of you, right? What are the questions you ask? What's that experience they have? How do you establish the gap and the need so that you can get to second base, which we're also going to talk about today, which is bridging that gap and providing the solutions or the benefits and the value propositions that we have in the company and that you have as well in your market center and as a leader to bridge their gap from where they're at to where they want to go and overcome their challenges so that they can accomplish their goals. And then going into third base is where we're going to close. At that point, we're going to handle objections, and then we're going to work them through the agent transition, because as we all know, once they say yes, that's when the real work starts, right? We need to coach them out of their brokerage. We need to simulate that experience. We need to help them with what to say. And then there's a myriad of other things that we're going to do if they're not going to move for a few weeks because they have to close out a deal, and how we keep them engaged. So all of that is at third base. So as we slide into home, and they've joined us, now we want to make sure that we wow them with that orientation so that we can leverage them and their influence for additional referrals to start going around the bases again. Right, Jessica?
Yep. And so for those of you that are in kind of more of a presenting mode, just know that if you follow this and you don't skip bases, your conversion will triple.
Yeah. So remember, if you're going to write anything down, write down, don't tell and sell, right? Because recruiting experienced agents is not about telling and selling, right? Brand new agents, you can get away with that. We don't recommend it, but you can get away with that because they have to hang their license somewhere and they don't know anything. So it's like you're presenting. When you're dealing with experienced agents, you're dealing with the psychology of fear that they don't want to move, they're happy where they're at, and all of that psychology. So going through the bases like Jessica's talking about, where you don't skip any, is you're setting them up for the next piece in the recruiting, experienced agent recruiting model. Okay. All right, so the needs analysis or the business consultation, and if you've been to the TL skills camp in Austin, you've been through this. They've role played that. You see it in your manual, right? The needs analysis we're going to go through today. Understand that that's a list of the 28 questions that really set them up in the process to where they've self-discovered they have a need, right, with no solutions. And that's our whole goal, is not to hit somebody over the head with the recruiting book, right? It's to get them to recognize that they're not reaching their potential, that they want more from their business, that they have challenges they're not able to overcome. Maybe they've hit a ceiling of achievement. They want more. That's our job as the consultant, is to have them experience that in your conversation so that we can set them up for the next base. So that's what's real important to understand about what we're going to role play today, is really, this is not about how good you are at presenting how great Keller Williams is, because they're not ready for that.
Well, and then just to add to that, just a few things. For those of you that may think, I don't need 28 questions, I can do this in 4 or 5. I would challenge you to use the model as it exists, because it teaches you a rhythm where this becomes a simple conversation in the future. And if you actually time yourself doing a needs analysis, you can do this in really just a few minutes. So although it seems like a long list, there's a reason for every one of those questions, and they all work in tandem. So just be open-minded to just following what we share with you today, because it really is effective. And if you don't cheat the process, the person across from you has a phenomenal experience. And so Rich and I are going to role play this for you. But what's really special is when you do this well, often the person across from you is sharing things that they haven't shared with anyone, or maybe even put a lot of thought around. So it's a really special experience. And once they've had that experience with you, even if they're not quite ready to move today, they're going to have a different level of rapport and relationship with you that'll be tied to their business and their goals. And likely they've never had anyone helping them in this area. So it's a really cool experience. So I challenge you not to cheat it.
Okay, great. So one of the things that I want to show you, I'm going to switch slides here. So you'll see at the top of question 15, it says pivot to the 10-step presentation or continue on with the balance of these questions. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to go through these questions, and when you get to 15, you have the option of where you can go right into second base, and you can start, presenting the 10-step presentation and your value propositions, or you can continue on, finish the rest of the 28 questions, and then go into that presentation. Or there's a third option, which is where you would go through the rest of the 28 questions, and then you would set up a second meeting, preferably that next day, where you would take them through the second base or the 10-step presentation. Okay, so there's 3 options. One is pivot at question 15 and go right into the presentation after that. Number 2 is finish all 28 questions, then go into the presentation. Or 3, finish all 28 and then set another appointment. Okay, all right. So on the left there is really your opening kind of your opening paragraph, right? Which the dialogue you're going to have, and then you just get right into the question. So Jessica, let's go through a quick, demo and role play of this. So Jessica's the agent, I'm the team leader. So Jessica, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to get together. As I mentioned over the phone, I specialize in helping agents build business. And in order for me to share with you some strategies and some tactics to help you with your business in 2024, I just need you to answer some questions and ask you some questions, if that would be okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. So tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the business?
I've been in the business for about 5 years, and prior to that, I was a busy mom. I have a couple kids, and they keep me busy. So once they got into school, it was time for me. And I have had a background in marketing and people my whole life, so it just was a natural fit for me.
Okay. Oh, great, great. So you've been in the business for 5 years. Prior to that, you were running the household, being a mom with kids and everything, and now it sounds like you 5 years later, you kind of jumped in and decided to start your business. So tell me a little bit about how that's been going over the last 5 years.
Well, it started out awesome. I mean, I was almost the rookie of the year, or my first year. It was so easy for me because I know so many people. So I think it was a easy career move for me just because I'm uh so connected in this little community of mine. And it's been fun. I've really enjoyed helping people find their homes. I really enjoy real estate in general. I love the flexibility. So it's been good. It's been really good.
Okay, great. So at this point, do you feel like, as you look at the last 5 years, that you've reached your potential in your business?
Well, I certainly hope not. I kind of have keep hitting the same numbers, but I think there's more. I think I've got more in me.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about that, your business right now. I know the market's changed and so forth for a lot of people. Would you describe your business as growing, declining, or flat this year?
Well, it's definitely slower this year, and I know everyone's feeling that. And yet I kind of was stuck at that 10 million mark for the last couple years now. I'm not even going to hit that this year. So I would say I'm kind of stuck.
Okay. So 10 million is kind of where what I'm hearing you say you hit a plateau, hit a ceiling, kind of of achievement. And what are you going to finish the year at this year?
Ooh, I'm gonna be happy if I hit 7. Yeah, I did not have as good of a year this year.
Okay. And hey, let's face it. I mean, the market's off by about 35%. So it sounds like, 7 million from 10, you're about 30% off as well with your production. Does that
Yeah.
concern you?
Yeah, it does. I'm used to having more cash flow, and I definitely don't want another year like this.
Sure. So as we're getting ready to start 2024, have you thought about what you're going to do differently to get back on track?
Well, it's kind of why I was open to talking to you. I've gone to a couple classes. I went to the MLS and did a class on Instagram and some other things, but I don't know. I haven't implemented any of them.
Okay. All right. So you're used to being at 10 million. You're going to hit about 7 this year. Where do tell me a little bit about where you want to be. What's your goal? Because you had also said that you hit the ceiling of achievement at 10. So it sounded like you wanted to break through that as well. What does that look like?
Well, I definitely need to get to 10 or more because that's where my lifestyle is. And I want more than what I'm doing now. I feel like I should be able to get to 15 or 20 million. And that's really where I'd like to have that extra cash flow. I'd like to buy an investment property or two. I've been having the same dream board for 3 years in a row. So
Okay. All right. So tell me a little bit more about that because that's exciting. So you want to buy some investment. So when you hit 15 million, is that where that dream board is, where you're going to have the extra cash flow to do the things that you want?
yeah, I mean, everything I do is created by my actions. I want to get a little bit more passive. I've been talking about buying rental property for 5 years now, still haven't pulled the trigger. So, I need to start moving my business into passive as well.
Okay. So, so we got to get you back to 10 million first. And really your ultimate goal is to get to 15, at least that first plateau. So when you get to 15 million, right? Let's just, assume that we can get you back to 10. So you're back to where your lifestyle is. But when you get to 15 and now you're looking at your dream board, that's an extra $150,000 in income, right? That's like an extra 12,000 a month in cash flow. How are you spending that money? You talked about investments, but what else? What are you spending an extra 12,000 a month on that is above your lifestyle?
Well, I have two kids that I still have to pay for school, and I have nothing saved. So that's going to be real in about 3 years.
Okay. So setting up their schooling, the college and so forth. All right. And then in terms of your investment properties on your dream board, tell me what you're wanting to do there.
I want cash flow from something other than what I'm creating and doing, and I have none of that in my world right now. So if I'm
Okay.
not physically doing every aspect of the work, my money's not working for me. I'm not leveraging in that area at all.
Okay. So are you saying that you want to pick up an investment property like, next year or once a year, or what does that look like on your goal board?
I haven't even gotten that detailed, to be real honest with you, because it's something I want that I'm just not getting close to it. So I haven't
Sure.
really even thought about what property, what would the cash flow be, what type of property. I haven't even done that yet.
Okay. Just on a side note, would you like some help with that?
Yes.
Kind of laying that out? Okay, great. I'll make a note of that. So, kind of back to what you're saying, you've got college, you got schooling, you need to prepare for that. I mean, what are some immediate things that you would do when hit that 15 million and $150,000 in additional income?
I would get a full-time assistant because I
Okay.
have become my own assistant and I'm not good at it. I'm not good at the paperwork. I'm not good at all these posts I'm supposed to be making. So I'd love to be able to write a check every month without any fear to hire someone to help me with that stuff.
Okay, great. So to get your own assistant and then start putting money away for college funds and then looking at your investment portfolio. That sounds exciting. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Jessica, what would you say your kind of level of commitment is to that?
9 or 10. I mean, I have to get to 10 million, or I don't know if I even stay in this business, frankly. And if
Okay.
I just am stuck again for another 2 or 3 years, I don't think I'd stay in. I think I'd move on. So I would say a 10.
Okay. All right. So failure is not an option, is what you're
No,
saying.
right.
Got it. All right. Great. All right. So, can I ask you this? How do you see yourself getting back to 10, much less getting to 15?
Hoping the market turns around. I don't know. Hope is not a good plan, is it?
No, no, I,
I
I would say not.
honestly don't know. This is I spin my wheels here a lot with all these different ideas, and then I don't implement anything. So this is where I'm stuck.
Okay. So don't really have solutions on how to get back to 10, much less to 15. How's your broker helping you with that?
Oh, she's a good friend of mine. She doesn't even come into the office. I just hang my license there because we're good friends. She doesn't really work on her business either. So I don't
Okay.
really expect her to help me.
So she's not really, helping you specifically. So besides, not really having a plan and not really knowing what to do to get to 10, much less to 15, what would you say the biggest challenges that you're having in your business right now?
I need more leads, and I'm not really someone that cold calls. So I've just always relied on knowing a lot of people and word of mouth. So I don't have a strong plan around that other than just trying to do more of that. That's
Okay.
really, I
So
get most of my business by word of mouth.
sure. Okay. So it sounds like you're saying you need more leads, right?
Mhm.
And don't have a system of consistent flow of leads, right? How is your friend, your broker, helping you with that, helping you build your business? Are they doing anything to help you do that and overcome those challenges?
No, yeah, she doesn't even do it either. So not really.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So right there, I would pivot, right, and go right into the next step. So let me share with
I've given
you.
you so much.
Yeah. So
I've given
rather,
you
for
so much.
sake of time, rather than going through questions 15 through 28, I'm going to pivot right here because I have what I need. All right. So back to role play. So Jessica, would you like me to share with you what the 15, $20 million producers are doing right now in today's current environment, current market here locally to achieve that level of production?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, great. So now I'm pivoting right into the presentation. Or step two is I could finish the rest of the questions. Tell me about your technology systems, how much you're spending on them. Tell me about your database, right? How many people do you have in it? How many deals you're getting a year from it, right? From your perspective, describe the ideal office. How important is it for you to be part of a high energy, positive environment? Do you think an environment like that could add any additional deals to your business? What kind of environment do you have today? Could that be one of the things that's holding you back if they don't have that kind of environment, right? Do you feel like if you had the right partner and coach supporting you every day would impact your business? How so? Right? Paint a picture for your business in the next over the next 2 to 3 years, right? So I'm future pacing her there, right? And then lastly, would you agree that if you want to get a different result than you're getting today, you need to change your strategies, your activities, and environment? Sure. So then I could go right into the 10 step there, or I could transition at the bottom of the screen there and I can say, hey, Jessica, I've really enjoyed the opportunity to meet with you, to get to know you. I've taken extensive notes from our meeting today. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to review my notes and formulate a specific business strategy for you. I've got some great ideas that I'd like to share with you that'll impact your income immediately. Jessica, why don't we get together tomorrow at 11 o'clock and I'll share those with you? She's going to say yes because she's on the edge of her chair. I'm going to show her how to go from not only 7 back to 10, but from 10 to 15 so she can hit her goal on her dream board, right? So remember that at this point, the agent's challenges and lack of solutions should be very clear. And I think we've outlined that with our little role play, right? She's got a gap. They have to acknowledge their reality. So if they haven't, I've got to spend time reframing those questions to get her to connect the dots and the light bulb to go on. I think she's pretty clear that she's hit a plateau, she's stuck, right? And we have the information that we need, which is why we pivoted for the appointment for the presentation right there at question 15, right? She has to be motivated to change her results. That's an important piece. If she said, well, if I don't hit my goal, it's not a big deal. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 5. I would spend more time there and say, okay, so failure is an option, meaning that if you don't start those college funds, if you don't start working on that dream board, get that investment property, get that assistant, then I guess that's not a big deal then, right?
Well, you kind of know that when you're doing this, Rich, because if someone says that, that's when you're going to go all the way through all those questions, you guys, to dig up what else you have to work with, because you might find out they're spending a ton of money on tech or some other thing. And yet I gave you more than enough to be able to pivot into the actual presentation. And what I want to acknowledge is Rich has not sold me or shared anything or got excited about anything KW yet, has he? He hasn't even brought it up. And that's something important to recognize. This has been all about me and my business. And by having this awesome experience with this conversation, I'm realizing more and more about my business than I probably was thinking about. And again, that experience is very important and very special. So don't skip it or get into selling and telling mode, because if you noticed, he has done none of that yet because
Yeah.
it wasn't appropriate.
That's a really good point, so that it's about a process. I'm reframing her answers, I'm repeating them. I'm drilling down and asking additional questions, not because, I don't know what to do, right? It's because I want her to hear her answers. I want that to sink in that she's stuck and that she's not able to hit the things on her dream board that she's had for 3 years. And now she's taking a pay cut this year because of the market and she doesn't have any solutions, nor does her broker. So I'm doing that on purpose, and that's what's important to recognize here. All right, so the 4 quadrants. You want to touch on this real quick, Jessica, and then we'll move into the presentation.
Yeah, so this is the questions, but in a visual to help those of you that familiarize with this. We know that if we bring someone from positive present to negative present, and then we bring them over to negative future, this is where the majority of the work is done. And those are from my own answers to Rich. It's not Rich saying, wouldn't it be great if? No, no, it's me sharing with him my gap. So some of us like to snorkel versus scuba dive here. And I will tell you that if you can stay in the bottom right quadrant with the majority of this conversation, your impact on the person across from you will be much greater. If you skip the bottom right quadrant and get right into solution, you've lost them. In fact, that's where we typically make a mistake. So look at both the sheet with all the questions that you guys have from all your team leader training, and we can put the questions in the chat as well if you need them. But this is it seen in a different light to remind you to stay in the bottom right quadrant. Don't get into selling and telling and solution mode, which is positive future. If you skip negative future, that's when they evaluate their own pain and they realize they need to do something about their current circumstance to get out of it, which requires them to move to Keller Williams.
Yeah,
So
great point. So let them sit in the pain. That's really hard for a lot of team leaders to do, because we want to save them. Let them sit in the pain. So Jessica, if you don't make any changes to your business and you're at 7 million below your lifestyle of what you're used to at 10, much less your dream board at 15, right? How is that going to impact your life, right? That's a negative future, because whatever's happening in the present, positive or negative, I want to take her to the future. And in this case, it's not going to be positive, it's negative. And I want her to sit there. I want her to answer that question. I want to reflect on the answer so that she can feel that pain, because that's what's going to move her, right? There's either going to be enough pain there that ultimately, when I ask her to join, she says, you know what, I'm willing to deal with that relationship with this broker that I'm friends with, and the people that are friends of mine at the office, even though I've been there for 5 years, and all the fears that I have, I'm willing to sacrifice that to move forward, to get out of pain in the future, right? I mean, that's the whole point of this, right, Jessica?
And what's important if you're highly relational, sometimes we get into friend zone and they don't need another friend. They have a friend in their broker and friend at the office with other agents. But when we are true business consultants, like Rich is role playing with me, it's another world. And I know as a person that I'm going to probably need to make a change for my well-being, not because I need another friend. So that's a real important thing to get clarity around.
Yep. So let's jump into this, for sake of time. The value proposition. So we've got a ton of value propositions, benefits with KW. Here's just some of the buckets. We like to put them in buckets because a lot of them, kind of are in certain buckets, and you don't want to be talking about 15 different things. It's going to overwhelm them. You really don't want to go into more than 5 or 6 max value propositions. But we have, advanced stage in education. We have coaching and consulting. We have your environmental productivity. We have the models and the systems. We have our tech platform, obviously. We've got the 36 touch, client follow-up and database program. Maybe you have a TeamRidge and lead program as well, and you're using that through Command or however you're doing that. So whatever they are, let's go through this model of the 10-step presentation process. So what I want you to see is that blue arrow going from 6 to 1, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take each benefit. I just put A through F there, of those benefits. You can use whatever you want. But let's say I'm going to present each of those individually, separately, and I'm going to take each one, steps 1 through 6. Then I'm going to go back up to step 1, grab the next benefit, 1 through 6, next benefit, 1 through 6. So let's demonstrate that real quick, Jessica. So before I'm going to get into the 10th step, I'm going to recap, the highlights of what she said, her pain points and her reality. So Jessica, you had said that you've been in the business for 5 years. You've enjoyed the career. You were running the household before, and all of a sudden you hit a plateau of about 10 million in production. The market shifted. Now you're at 7, which is about a 30% pay cut, which isn't okay with you because your lifestyle is at 10 million. And the other thing that you shared with me is that really your goals and your dreams and your board is at 15 to 20. and you've had that, and you've been staring at that for 3 years and haven't been able to break through that ceiling. Does that sound about right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a very good recap.
Okay. And you said that your challenges are getting more leads and having a plan and just getting clarity of what you need to do to get out of this. And we talked a little bit about your broker that's a friend of yours, and there's not really anything that she's doing to help you. But on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10 that you figure this out, because you got to get to 15 to be able to, get the college funds set up for your kids. You want to start an investment, portfolio with real estate, and you want that assistant as well to help create leverage and for you to grow your business. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
exactly right.
great. So let me just share with you some of the programs, the models, the tools, the things that agents that are doing 15 to 20 million are using to in their business to achieve that level of production. The first is called our business strategy coaching. And the way that our business strategy coaching program works is we get together with our agents and we dissect their business and we formulate specific strategies based on their strengths, the opportunities in the market, and the goals they've set. Let me share with you how this coaching and support program is impacting our agents' businesses. Sally Smith in our office is about in the same boat. She was doing about 7-8 million in production. Do you know that she's going to do $15 million in volume this year, 2023? Strategies, the tactics, the coaching that we're sharing with her and that she's involved in. So, Jessica, let me ask you this. Do you see value in this type of coaching and support?
Yeah, absolutely. I have never had a coach before.
Okay. How do you see yourself using it or benefiting from it in your business?
Well, I think I think a little bit of guidance really could help me get to that next level because I've just been winging it right now, so I think that could really help me out.
Okay. So let's just be real conservative over the next year, the next 12 months. So in 2024, how many additional transactions do you think you could add to your business with this type of coaching and support? Be real conservative. What do you think?
I don't know, like maybe three
About
more.
three? Okay, great. So I write down three, step six. I'm going back, following the arrow, back up to step one. So Jessica, let me share with you about our advanced agent education. Here's what we do nationally. Family reunion right around the corner. 15, 20,000 of the top people in the industry. Keynote speakers, Tony Robbins, panels, breakout sessions. Here's Mega Camp, masterminds, right? Here's what we do with Bold regionally. Here's what our local calendar looks like. So I'm going to take her through, show her some visuals, talk to her a little bit about, the advanced agent education that we have. And I'm going to follow the process. So what's the next step? Testimonial. Let me share with you how this advanced agent education, Jessica, has impacted our agents' incomes. Bob Smith in our office was listing about 8 properties a year. He went to our regional program Bold that I mentioned to you, where there's been over 250,000 graduates. And he took 12 listings in this tight inventory market in 2024. So
Wow.
do you see value in this type of advanced agent education?
Yeah, I've never even taken a class on listings. I've just, kind of figured it out. So
Mhm.
absolutely. That's
Okay.
interesting.
So just again, conservatively over the next year in 2024, if you had the ability to plug into this advanced agent education and learn from others and mastermind with people, how many additional transactions do you think you could add to your business in 2024, just conservatively?
Well, probably another 2 or 3 deals easily with,
Okay.
maybe
So
even
we'll
more.
just we'll just say be conservative, say two. So I write down two. Gonna go back to the top, do a little quick tech demo. Gonna talk about models and systems. Maybe it's a red book, talk about the 4 models. So I'm gonna go through 5 or 6 benefits max. We just went through two, but you see, I already have 5 deals on my side of the table, conservatively from her own words, over the next 12 months, which is free money. That's newfound money, right? So let's say that for sake of time, I've been through 4 or 5 of these different benefits. And so I'm going to go to step 7 now. So Jessica, I'm going to reaffirm her answers. I'm going to feed them back to her. So Jessica, you said that from our coaching and support program, there's an additional 3 transactions. Is that correct?
Yeah.
In our advanced agent education, you saw an additional 2 over the next 12 months. Is that right?
Yes.
In our tech platform, you saw an additional 3 deals over the next year, right?
Yeah.
Comms and systems, 2, right? Environmental productivity, 3. So that's a total of 10 additional transactions, Jessica. Is that correct?
Yeah, it
Okay.
is.
What's your average gross commission per deal?
Somewhere between 10 and 15,000.
Okay. So between 10 and 15,000. So an additional 10 transactions, Jessica, is an additional 100 to $150,000 in income over the next 12 months. Now, when we were talking earlier, you said that, you've got to get back, right, to 10 million, because you're off 30%, right? And that $3 million is about, 90,000 in commissions. And then we got to get that extra 150,000 so we can get to 15 million, which you see yourself plugging in to these 15 additional or these 10 additional transactions at 10 to $15,000 a pop. So can you see how by just plugging yourself in, Jessica, not even working any harder, you can accomplish your goal this year in 2024? Let's get started.
Let's get
Okay.
started. You
So
got me.
that's, yep. So that's step 2 on the baseball analogy, right? We did the needs analysis, first base. Second base was the 10-step presentation process. And now we're at third where we're going to close and handle objections, but I'm in a lot better place to do that now because I have $150,000 on my side of the table on those 10 additional deals. Her big why, her goal, her reality that she's hit her ceiling. She's taken a pay cut this year and her broker has no solutions. So you see how I've stacked the deck in my favor as a recruiter to now handle objections and now to deal with all the stuff because I have her money and her goals on my side of the table. Okay.
Well, and
So
then
go
the
ahead.
one thing to add to that is for those of you that have been team leaders for a while and you've been giving offers, we know that with experienced agents, they don't all jump in one transmittal to move right over. And so because Rich did not get into selling mode and he did a thorough needs analysis and he discovered 3 major gaps in my business, he now has enough intel to nurture with me properly so that I stay on the line with him. I might not move for 3 or 4 months. However, he knows what he needs to stay in alignment with and what matters to me. And if he would have skipped any part of that or get into selling mode, he would have lost all that. So know that it's not about out scripting people or out presenting people. It's about people, and their lives are their lives. And if you don't skip these steps, your nurture is where most of your R2 hires will come from. And Rich and I can tell you from teaching this and coaching for as many years as we have, we can tell you that this is truth. If you give 10 offers out, you're not getting 10 R2s to move in 1 or 2 months. It may trickle in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And yet, because he did this properly, the nurture will be easy.
Yeah. It's a relationship business. The bottom line is your game you're playing as a recruiter is how many relationships can you get into every single week and then nurture those people and really have conversations that get the light bulbs to go on so that they can see their reality and are they moving towards their big why, their goals, and the reason that they're in real estate. And how can you help them with that? That's really the job, right? We make it so much more complicated with all these other things. So we wanted to share that with you today. We're also going to be doing 3 additional calls, promo calls, starting in January on the most disruptive recruiting strategies. We're going to be doing one on the heat seeker, the playbooks, and how to recruit with those. So look out for those over the next few months leading up to our next Rockstar recruiting program that you all should, if you're serious about recruiting, you should all participate in this program. We do this twice a year, and it's a 90-day program with a weekly phone call, a Zoom call where we walk you through all the steps and components around those bases and to master recruiting. And it's a great program. That QR code, you can go right to the MAPS Fast Track site and register for that and find out more information. But it's one of the most popular programs out there, especially if you've gone to recruiting skills boot camp. This is the next piece to teach you the skills.
We get into the meat of it all, and we actually role play in front of you, and it becomes more real versus just talking about it. We get out of theory and into action. So for those of you that need to get more technical with your recruiting skills, this is exactly what you need. You can register today, save your seat, and then you'll also get invited to those classes, those extras that start in January. In addition to this, Rich and I added pop-up classes based off what the class itself requested in terms of more detail, more examples. And I think this is where you get your confidence, your recruiting confidence. So if you feel like you need that, this is for you.
Yep. And I know we're a little bit beyond the time, but we had a lot of content to share. If there's any questions in the chat, you want to, I don't know if you're even can come off mute, but feel free to put something in the chat. If you have any questions, here's our contact information. You can text us, email us, call us. We're here to help you. And we love recruiting. So whatever we can assist you with, let us know.
And this Rockstar recruiting is for anyone that recruits. So if you're recruiting for a team or your own business, or you just want to learn how to be more effective in this way for your own downline, this is for anyone. So it is a great class for anyone.
Yeah. So Mandy said, you know, what are some things to look for to determine which way to close on the needs analysis? I think that when you you have all the information you need, like Jessica teed me up, I can go right into the close right after question 15. If they're, you know, not giving me a lot to work with, I still need to probe, I still need to ask more questions, take them through the balance of the 28 questions. It also depends on how fast it's going too. I mean, you can really, in some of these questions, people can get emotional, they can start breaking down. I mean, this could be an hour and a half conversation if you go through the 28 questions, which is a great experience for them to have. But yet you might not have enough time to go into the presentation after that too. So you kind of have to kind of weigh that as well. All right, let's see what other questions. Is this strictly for TLs? No, you answered that, Jessica. No, anybody that's recruiting for a team, anybody that's recruiting for that wants to learn how to recruit. This stuff we teach you is universal for not just even real estate, for anything, because it's a people business, right? Always good to sharpen the saw. Pam, Brian, thank you. Can we have access to the January classes without sign of a Rockstar? Can we ask that have access? Oh yeah, we're gonna do some national calls like this leading up to the March program. So those are free classes that we're just going to expose you to some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the program. So you'll have access to those, and they're just been
There you go,
posted.
Marilyn. Okay, Marilyn, MCA. I wish you would have been my MCA. She did 50% of the Market Center's growth. Way to go. That's awesome.
That is awesome. And you've been in our program and you are a rock star. And we just posted those links for those additional classes in the chat too. So there you go. And they're all free. All right, great. Thank you. Listen, thanks for your time. Have a wonderful holidays. If you need us, let us know. QR code, text us, email. We're here for you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful start to the new year. And a happy new year to everybody.
Talk to you all soon.
Bye-bye.